Welcome to part one of this essay tutorial. Um, I'm going over the cover page, the front page, the title page, and also the introduction. So the title page is pretty basic. You're going to fill out the key information, okay? Just make sure it stays in this format, Times New Roman 12. Uh, do not be fancy and start adding headers or anything else or making font size larger than it is. Just keep it as is. There is point deductions. If it's way off, it's 10% off, even if the title page is the only thing off, because you're supposed to just not you touch anything on it, but just type directly on the template. Okay. And then as I come down, I want to make sure I put a little bit of a mini title on here, kind of the same as this. You can use the same if it's small. You don't want to have large um, title pages or heading. Okay, and I'll get to these heading. I'll get to the subtopic paragraphs later, but I want to show you something here. You see a lot of color coding, and you're probably wondering, do I have to do the same? No. What I did was I took the information. It all should be in black font, and I'll change it to black font at the end. But I want to show you something here as I go to the outline. If you remember the outline assignment from last week, the tutorial, basically I took word for word on all three areas if everything's okay. So when you look back at your feedback and if everything looks okay or if there's corrections to make them. What you do is you could just take all this information and just add it to the introduction for the essay. And what you see here in black is actually what I added to it. Okay, so I expanded on some parts on this after this part of the hook. As you see, my hook's right here. First sentence, that's the hook. That's what that first. Again, should be no questions asked in the hook. Should be no questions asked in the essay. Also, it shouldn't be a fact or anything like that. It's just a strong statement. And then notice how I added a little bit after that to help bridge and complete a good understanding of what the essay is about. You can pause this video and read through this introduction from start to finish here. And then, of course, this is the other parts of background information that you see here, background information. And then you see my thesis, okay? Now, sometimes if you copy and paste it, like let me show you something here. Let's say I copied this and I pasted it here. Obviously, look at that. It can mess with everything in the introduction. It could take it single space. If by that chance it happens, there's a way to fix it. Another thing too is look, if you look at this right here, you can highlight it. It's Times New Roman, but if I notice that this is a different font, if I highlight a little bit of it, it's Arial. So I want to make sure it's all Times New Roman and double spaced. I can highlight it all, hold down the CTRL button on the keyboard, and just real quick, one time, press the number 2. Do it that way, or I can right click on my mouse, go to paragraph, line spacing, double space, okay. And then always make sure this first line is indented. Now that's not all. I want to make sure it's all in Times New Roman because as you can tell, this is not all Times New Roman. So I just like to highlight it all just to be on the safe side and type when it shows up Times New Roman, and I can press tab, okay, because then it'll move over to 12 and then I'm done. Okay, you can also do it up on the top bar. Let me pause this real quick. Here it is up here, the bar. You can come up, highlight up here, and you can look for it, or you can type in there Times New Roman, hit the tab button on the keyboard. A lot of times it's easier just to highlight, hold down CTRL button, and go to press number 2. That's a fast way of doing it. And then notice the last part of the sentence is my thesis, because guess what? It's talking about what my next paragraphs are going to be about. It's got to align. This could be up to 20 to 30% deduction if this is not correct. So the first subtopic is going to be how violent games and movies will influence children's behavior. Here it is right here, influence children's behavior. That's my next paragraph. My second paragraph is going to be about how it immunizes children towards violence, negative influences of films. And then parental support's the third. I come over here and say how parental support. Okay. Also notice how there's a gap right here. All right. There should be no gaps between paragraphs. So if you see gaps, just hit delete till you have it nice and snug. Okay. Each paragraph should be nice and snug. There should be no gaps between sections like that. Okay. So this is basically how you write your intro. And this intro right here, let's see how many words is that. Let me get a word count. I'm not sure if it'll show directly on the screen here, but if I highlight it, it shows 145 words. That's pretty good. It usually should be between 100 to 120 words. So I did pretty good on writing this introduction. Okay? So that's basically the introduction in a nutshell. But this is very important. Notice how I do not have any citations or quotes. There should be no quotes in this essay anyways. All should be paraphrased. Quotes are not part of the word count. So everything that you see here, and I'll show in the next tutorial, you'll see that everything is just in my own words. Okay? So good luck, and let me know if you have any questions about the introduction.